Hello everybody. Today I want to talk about, very briefly, range of motion and how important that is to your training, to the effect that you're trying to stimulate. Because remember, training is all about the effect that you're trying to stimulate. When you go into the gym, you're not moving a weight from point A to point B. You're trying to achieve a specific result. You need to know what that specific result is that you're aiming for. Otherwise, it's like driving a car to go somewhere and you're not really sure where you want to go. Right? You need to know what you're trying to achieve. Which brings us to the concept of range of motion, because sometimes people will tell you that range of motion is irrelevant. It's all about mechanical stress. Range of motion isn't important for hypertrophy. Range of motion isn't important as long as you're loading up with maximal weight, all this stuff. Most of this, to be blunt, is just plain total and utter bullshit. Is there a place for limited range of motion when exercising? Yes, absolutely. If you are doing something that's sport specific and you're looking to maximize one part of a strength curve, you might overload part of the movement. If you have a weakness in a lift, if you are a power lifter, if some of your sort of overall structural balance numbers don't add up and you're trying to improve certain points and you have a sticking point, you might overload a particular range of movement. But if you're trying, and most of the people watching this are going to be interested in hypertrophy, if you're trying to stimulate as many muscle fibers as possible with a given exercise, you want to work through the fullest range of motion possible whilst maintaining tension on the muscle. So this is a very important point to remember. It doesn't necessarily mean working through a maximal range of motion if that range of motion is going to take the tension off a particular muscle. A good analogy would be chest, shoulders. When pressing, for example, there is a very, very plausible argument to be made, especially maybe with deltoids, with an overhead pressing movement, that you don't want to necessarily go to full extension of the arm and go all the way to lockout, because you're going to take a bit of the tension off the deltoids. And this, the higher up the movement you go, the more extension, the more triceps you're going to hit anyway. The same goes, but to a more limited extent, with chest pressing motions. You might end up doing, for a portion of an exercise, a three-quarter range of motion, but you want to do the three-quarter range of motion where there's maximal tension. Where is the maximal tension? From the bottom going up, not from the top going down. Some people, because I'm going to qualify this, this is not an exhaustive answer. Some people who might be hypermobile may be able to get such a range of motion as they go down in a press, in a dumbbell press, for instance, that the stress shifts to too much onto the anterior deltoid and away from the pectoral. So always remember, maximal range of motion whilst keeping tension on the muscle. But what you don't want to do, just do not fall, please, into this trap that we've all fallen into. I fell into it when I was a younger man, of thinking, I want to push the weight, progressive overload, which of course is very, very important. And you progressively overload by steadily decreasing your range of motion, and decreasing the range of motion so that you're in a what we'd call a mechanically advantageous position for using more weight. So in a press, in an overhead press, you might be pressing in the top quarter of the movement. And if you're pressing in the top quarter of the movement, any good trainer will tell you that goes from being a deltoid exercise into being a triceps exercise. Now, if you want to work triceps, great. If you have a strength imbalance or a strength curve imbalance, and you want to you want to do something to rectify it, and there are loads of qualifications for everything, because there are no absolutes in training, then you may want to do a quarter rep at the top of a range of motion. But if you are thinking about body composition, and if you are thinking about maximal hypertrophy, please always bear in mind that 98% of the time, go for a maximal range of motion whilst keeping maximum tension on the muscle. If you think that, you know what, you might need to lighten your weight a little bit. That's no big deal, right? That's no big deal at all. Your muscles do not know, it's a trite thing for me to say, but your muscles do not know how much weight you're lifting. So what you want to do is think tension, 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 tension all the time, and range of motion is one of the tools that you use to achieve that tension and stimulate as many fibers as possible. So I hope that's clear. Any questions, just ask it in the questions, in the comments box under the video. And this is Nick Mitchell, and I will speak to you very soon. Thank you.